give them a rating, a score out of 10 on how this draft plays out.
All right.
Because we have spent a fair amount of time talking, more specifically about Rogue's draft, so that's definitely where I want to dial my eyes.
All right, I'm already
into.
giving them a B because they've chosen to ban away the set themselves. So, like, good start to the draft. Definitely showcasing some growth. Vitality, though, going to look to take away the Olaf. Definitely a respect ban towards Inspired. What has surprised me is how often Rogue will pair up an Olaf with a scaling mid laner because they cannot properly utilize the strengths of Olaf if you can never gain priority in that lane. So this is one of the big things that we're going to be looking at for Rogue is what does that mid-jungle synergy look like? What does the 2v2 offer Rogue in terms of their early game power and playmaking, because it's so crucial and important when it comes to playing out the first 15 minutes of the game.
Well, we'll get a little bit more clarity on the 2v2. Senna is locked in. First pick here for Hansama. Aphelios finds himself in the ban pool. And the final ban in phase 1 from Vitality was that Syndra. So this will open up a couple of options now for Vitality. Which direction do they want to go?
Now, I do believe that Comp is someone that likes to go towards the Misfortune, something that he is pretty comfortable on and has played so far. He also did play the Varus earlier on in this split as well. So like he has a couple of options that he can play into the Senna. The question is what direction will they go in for? We talked about strong mid-jungle. Vitality have drafted themselves an insanely strong 2v2 with the mid-jungle. They have AP, they have AD, they have a very good level 2, well, level 3 ideally with the Elise once she's got all 3 of her abilities, but Pantheon has a lot of great setup with his stun. You can follow that up easily with the cocoon, as you so often love to express. And so I feel like Vitality already are showcasing that they're going for a very early game focused draft.
I mean, yesterday Mickey's Pantheon was fantastic. Yeah. He literally put Exile in his backpack and ran away with the game. Now, today we'll see what Saken can do with it. Turn our attention back to Rogue. They've now gone with that Jarvan, and it looks likely to be the Braum. It is a combination we've seen many times already, holding on to their solo laners for this next phase of play, assuming it gets locked in.
I'm never a fan of blind pick Braum. Like, I know there's been a lot of debate right now online around what are the best blind pick supports, and like, I understand that from the pro player's perspective, their argument is Braum pairs up very well with Senna, offers good peel, can follow up with a Jarvan engage, but I just think that it is a very dangerous thing to blind pick because of how many counters there are, and there we are. We're seeing it right now from Vitality. The Rakan going to come out, one of the most common counter picks that we've been seeing from many European supports, and it also sets up for a Xayah Rakan bot lane, which is a very strong 2 versus.
And just a reminder, you need to give me a rating out of 10 for how Rogue handled this drop. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Sure. I think they've lost a point already in Vedius's books. But jumping into phase 2 bads, Mordekaiser now removed from the pool. Rogue starting off removing the AD carry, so the lovers duo, Xayah Rakan, got rid of that one, but you've already mentioned Varus is a possibility. And that Diana, I'm hearing about it, I'm seeing it infrequently.
I think Diana is, I think she's broken. I'm abusing her to be able to climb in solo queue myself right now. I think she's incredibly strong, and I think that she's also a pretty safe blind pick, so I like the ban coming out from Vitality. Rogue, I don't think they need to ban the Misfortune. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like a, maybe a Tristana ban, maybe they take the Varus off the board, but another AD carry ban is what I'm considering right now. Yeah. But they are actually going to go for the Misfortune. I think that given that they'd already locked in the Braum, and they had Jarvan for themselves as well, they didn't really need to go for that. The surprising thing is that they're going for Ezreal here, a champion that has kind of fallen out of the meta ever since the Kleptomancy was removed from our game. Ezreal has not really been considered that strong. There's no good rune to put on him right now. So I'm excited to see what Comp actually does with this Ezreal in the bot lane.
Surely this screams good luck Larssen. An Ezreal, a Rakan, a Pantheon, and a self-sufficient bot laner. I mean, maybe Jactroll wants to roam a little more. Maybe he wants to try get in the face of the player that we were hyping up and getting excited about on the side of Rogue.
Oh my word. Okay,
and he's locked in Azir.
Rogue have drafted like full 35-minute game, right? So they, all right. I mean,
why are you laughing? Okay, break down what you're thinking and your thought process here.
I mean, so I think when you draft this much scaling, it's a little disrespectful because it assumes that the opposition, especially when they have Pantheon Elise, that the enemy team can't play early game at all, right? And I love the final pick here from Vitality because it does give you some scaling options yourself. The Camille will be able to generate a lot of pressure on the top side of the map and should look to outscale as well. But like, let's just very quickly break down how some of these lanes look in the early game. So Azir should be able to get push against the Pantheon, but the thing he has to be very careful of is an early gank, because of how easy it is for the Pantheon and the Elise to set that play up. So we may see him push early, but he has to be very careful. So that one's kind of neutral, depending on how much jungle involvement we see. Bot lane, Hans Summer and VandeR will have pressure in that 2 versus 2 because of the range advantage that Senna has. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Vitality should be able to get push in that matchup. So what we can see is that Vitality's draft is much more top-side focused, whereas for Rogue, they're a lot more bot-side focused. The key difference between them is that with Vitality's comp, they can very easily roam around the map because of Pantheon's ulti. So don't be surprised to see them burn Larssen's flash and then look to gank these side lanes as much as possible. But it's all about the early game for Vitality. They really spike hard at like 1 or 2 items, and Rogue are trying to go for the full late game. So we'll see if this full scaling draft can get them there. We'll see how it holds out for them, because again, I think it's a little disrespectful. Like, I think that it's a solid draft, but you really don't have a lot of early game options with this draft.
Any mistakes allows Vitality to just use the tools in their kit to accelerate ahead.
Yes, but of course, if they can't close games, then Rogue is guaranteed to win. Well,
we'll have to see, you know, whether or not Vitality can play this early game out. They've definitely got the tools in their composition. We do have a very brief pause, which allows me to ask Vedius to rate the Rogue draft now. Out of 10, where do we land?
I mean, I'm going to give it 7.
Okay.
Because I think that ultimately you still have a lot of power picks in the form of, I think Jarvan's really good in the current meta. I think Senna is really good in the current meta. And I think that, like, I'm in line with the thinking that based on what we've seen from Vitality so far, like, they haven't easily been able to close out games. Their early game isn't one of the most proactive, or they're not the best at snowballing, especially when they do have 3 rookies on their team. So that's why Rogue have gotten more points. But again, like, I do think it's pretty disrespectful to draft this much scaling. But we'll see, we'll see.
So let's jump into game and see whether or not Vitality can get any of those early advantages that they desperately need. 0 and 3 to open the 2020 season. A reminder, they are still obviously playing without their primary mid laner, Milica. And Saken has had some standout performances. Definitely been a flashy player, but it's the team that haven't really been able to rally and develop. And we'll see whether or not they can, you know, combine together with this threat and the ability to pick people off.
So we can see that Larssen is running Cleanse. Smart choice for Larssen. One of the... What's the word I'm looking for? One of the... I'm trying to say nice things about Larssen. There's a word.
Compliments,
one of the
positives.
One of the great things about Larssen,
impressive things.
Yeah, is that we talked about how he gets very few resources, but also how he consistently gets CS advantages in lane, even though he spends more of his time sitting back and playing defensively. He's a very intuitive player, and he's like very nuke duck in the sense that he is very controlled, he doesn't often make mistakes, and he understands what the enemy team has and how to play around it. Now, I don't think he's expecting this, a level 1 engage from Jactroll.
Well, I think a little bit of pressure early. Cleanse already thrown down. And we talked about it in draft. Ezreal and Rakan. Jactroll's already got one of those summoners secured.
Well, okay, so I was not expecting this to come out from Jactroll, but the key thing is that it burns that cleanse that we were just talking about for Larssen. Now, of course, Ezreal immediately going to be forced back in the lane, and this is going to make it a little bit harder for him. But the big advantage is it makes it easier for Skeanz to set up this play in the mid lane. Vitality are screaming that they want to kill this mid lane champion. And
it's a juicy target.
Yeah,
we'll have to see whether or not he can path around. As it stands, Inspired's already invaded, stolen away that red buff. You talked a little bit about the strengths on which sides of the map. So a little bit of a bold move there from Inspired, but understanding where Skeanz
it's interesting because this is something that Casual talked at length about yesterday, where by going for the sweeper and because of how fast Jarvan can clear these single targets, he started on the blue, he knew where Skeanz was starting, and he took early sweeper so that he could figure out where he was spotted and what the enemy team was up to, and so he did that blue into red steel, and now he's going to get a 3-buff start. So good pathing from Inspired overall. We'll get that slight jungle advantage. You can see now Inspired hitting that level 3 mark.
And of course, while you were taking a look there, Hans Summer and VandeR push the wave up, VandeR just steps into the Gromp camp area. Vitality places another ward down. So very early advantages here for Rogue. And going to have a lot more information to work with and put Skeanz just a little behind his opposite number.
And we can see that Comp has decided to go for Conqueror. Something that we talked about in the draft was how, with the removal of the Kleptomancy, there's been a lot of debate around what is the best rune. And it's cool to see Comp going for this Conqueror. We'll see how quickly he can stack it up as Vitality look for a gank top lane.
All right, Cabochard finds the engage onto Finn. Inspired is nearby, and Saken's already left the lane. Finn's dropped very, very low. The Fangs are sunk in, but the Spiderlings won't do it. Flag and drag from Inspired just to dissuade. So top lane flash for jungle flash. Vitality make the first move, they get the summoner.
Finn, he won the game of chicken there. He did not burn his early flash. Skeanz tried to predict it, ended up not being able to lock him down, but you can see the early pressure already being generated by Vitality.
And keep my eyes on the minimap because Rogue knew it was coming. They pinged Skeanz the whole way from his Krugs all the way to Tribush, where he's spotted there by the ward. And Finn's still just a little overextended. But now it's up to Skeanz to punish. Cleanse, 3/4 of the cooldown has already refreshed for Larssen. But he's got himself a few juicy targets to look for. And I think this ward will just about see him. Oh, no, it does not. Thank you, observers. Perfectly timed, and that's because Skeanz didn't walk forward.
Now, if we track over to the mid lane, you can see how defensively Larssen is playing. And the most important thing about losing that cleanse early was how it shapes the lane matchup. Because Larssen, as long as he had cleanse, he knew that he was mostly safe. Because the chances of Elise ganking at something like a level 2 was unlikely. She kind of wants the level 3 mark, so she has a full rotation available to her, which meant that Larssen could use his range to his advantage and try and bully and poke and be obnoxious against the Pantheon. But the moment he lost it, he was forced to play defensively, and that gave Saken so much control in the lane, where he could just use his mana to just play aggressively over and over and over again. You can see the farm in the mid lane is actually very even. So like that level 1 play was so important to the actual matchup, but now the cleanse is back up. Vitality weren't able to use that brief window to find an early kill, which might not be the end of the world, given that Skeanz is still using his pressure to look for more plays, and he's looking for a top lane gank right.
And also, Saken was the first to leave the lane because of everything you just described, and he's got the Moby boots now after the first back. So Cocoon will land onto Finn. He is in some trouble. Flash and Ignite available for Saken. Does he commit? And the answer is no, not right now. But the game plan is clear. Vitality, strength, topside, as you described in the draft, Vedius. And Vitality are playing towards it, pushing Finn further and further behind. But if there was any champion that you didn't mind losing a bit of CS, Ornn would be one of them.
Yeah, he's still going to offer value at level 6. That's a guaranteed. You can see that Inspired, very aware of what's happening top side of the map, doing what he can to try and trade elsewhere. Will secure the early Infernal. This is a decent pickup for the team of Rogue. Now we see the return of Saken to the mid lane. Larssen hitting that level 6. Saken should be very close to it himself. Yeah, a couple, 1 or 2 minions off, and then he'll get that ultimate available. And this is when we'll start to see the Pantheon impacting the rest of the map. And they may not even look to make any more plays mid lane. They may just say, you know what? Larssen can stay here. We're just going to ignore the Sandbird, and instead we're going to focus on trying to shut down these side lanes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to feel they're on a little bit of a timer as well because of the options in Rogue's composition. We've not looked at the bottom lane at all, so just very quickly, Hans Sama is up 2 waves worth of CS and has been shoving into Jactroll and Comp frequently. But I'm going to keep my eyes on Jactroll when he decides to back, and whether or not he roams to the mid or to the top lane. And as it stands, Inspired level 4 coming in and just shadowing Finn right now. There's no Skeanz nearby. Saken has the Grand Starfall. He's actually started to cheat towards the chicken camp, but I think that may be just to place a ward down. Nevertheless, no pressure, no further play. So Vitality, thrown a few punches, nothing really has connected. And Rogue are going to be pretty happy with the first 7 minutes of the game.
Yeah, they certainly are. And again, I keep going back to this mid lane matchup, but I love talking about this stuff. And you can see like how different the lane is now. And I think it's really important for any aspiring mid laners out there, because it's just important to recognize what tools you do have and what tools the enemy has. And notice how much more poke Saken is now taking with Larssen's cleanse back up. Because he realizes, hey, I know I'm so much safer. I know that I'm in a much better position. And that means that Saken can't play as aggressively as he wants to. And now we can start to see the CS discrepancy starting to build in the mid lane. So now that Jactroll has come mid, his whole purpose and goal was to try and free Saken from this mid lane. He was like, Larssen, you're being too obnoxious.
Yep.
Your range is too long. You need to back off my mid laner so he can move. He's using this opportunity to go back to base. He's going to buy the Moby boots, and this is when you have to start tracking the running man, okay? He's been training for this his whole life. Quickshot, he doesn't have those abs for nothing. And now he's going to be looking to go from mid lane to top lane to bot lane, and he's going to be looking to use his ultimate to Grand Skyfall in and set up plays for Vitality on the side.
Why would he be the running man if he's a bird? I will ignore that one for now.
I'm talking about Pantheon. The bird's not the running man.
I know, but he was on screen the entire time, and he was running. But nevertheless, Saken will just be able to jump up from the sky and fall on people's heads.
In theory.
In theory. True Shot Barrage comes out. That was not a steal, but it was a decent enough attempt. Vision game back and forth. So first big objective was the Dragon. That went the way of Rogue. Skeanz will be able to pick up the Herald. If he uses this, you know, in a Cabochard lane or a Saken lane, that can definitely help. Either push the advantage or relieve some of that pressure. But
here we go.
If you were to set a timer on when you would need Vitality to be getting ahead, do you think you could say that?
I mean, I would say that, like, if they're even at 15 minutes, like, it's better for Rogue, but at the same time, I think the Vitality spike harder at one item. So I don't think it's the end of the world. It's more like when you get to 25 minutes and the game is even, that's when Vitality have problems. Because the second, third items is when Rogue's comp is, like, really strong, and Larssen is farming very efficiently, which means that he's going to hit his item spikes at a very optimal timing. So this Sandbird will get stronger as the game goes on. Yeah,
nearly 10 minutes in, even game. No opportunity to dive Finn on his Summoner Spellbook. There was no flash available to him, but the ultimate was still available, and despite the wave being in front of his tower, Vitality felt they didn't want to go further. And you look at the mini-map, Inspired and VandeR, they find themselves swarming around Saken. Finn's going to go in, gets the knockup. Call of the Forge God. Hook shot comes out, and Cabochard's able to flash away. He gets almost sniped down. Finn with the rupture. Not going to do it just yet. One more breath. First blood, Finn.
Ornn, when he hits level 6 and when he can use the Ignite, has a surprising amount of all-in power. Cabochard did not expect this great trade to come out from Finn in the brush, and he was able to punish him for it. Great involvement from Han Summit in the bot lane as well. He'll pick himself up an assist, but Finn with pretty much a solo kill in that 1v1.
Yeah, the railgun from across the map definitely helping just a touch. So the Bellows Breath could finish it off. The Bramble Vest really made a big difference there as well.
For sure.
And just allows Finn now to hold his own. With that kill, the CS deficit doesn't matter at all. And Vitality's like biggest pressure screw is now looking a little shaky. Jactroll's going to hop himself to safety to get over the wall. And now Vitality concede first blood in the lane that they've spent, what, 3 gank attempts or a fair amount of pressure to try to get them ahead.
Yep. And you can see now that Larssen, knowing that the top lane is down, can be as aggressive as he wants. He has the positioning of his jungler very safely. Finn had the teleport as well, so Larssen feels safe, forcing the Pantheon to stay in lane, which is exactly what Vitality do not want to do. And this is kind of when we talked about it in the draft, where it was kind of like, okay, if Rogue is going to go for this very heavy scaling comp, you have to make the assumption that your opposition can't use the early game tools that they've drafted for themselves. And so far, we haven't been able to see Vitality optimize any of these tools that they have in their kit.
No, and you know, Skeanz and Saken, they have tried. We talked a little bit in the draft about the 2v2s and how they'd play out as a little bit more from the Rogue perspective. But Skeanz this time around will now be putting some pressure on the top lane. Cocoon comes out, Grand Starfall as well. Finn almost gets a kill onto Skeanz. Rappel goes up and comes down. Not done just yet. Finn survives the 1v3. He manages to stay in lane, get the CS, and get the experience, as well as Inspired picking up the second Drake. That was a fantastic outplay.
So I do understand why Vitality is investing so much into the top side of the map, but at the same time, you could be bringing Cabochard down. You could be moving him to other parts of the map, and you could be trying to set up dives onto Larssen. You could be trying to threaten the enemy jungle, and it feels like that they've committed so hard into trying to kill Finn, and it just has not been paying off. Yes, you've been putting him at slight deficits, but as long as Cabochard is not getting that gold, and the fact that he's died 1v1 is, you know, these attempts are just not paying off for Vitality.
Yep. A couple of summoner spells. That's all Vitality have been able to succeed at securing for themselves. And obviously with the third Drake spawning, it is an Ocean. We've now adjusted the Rift somewhat, and Inspired, he's now going to get involved. I think definitely a little bit quieter on the Rift to a degree, but he has some potential for dives here.
I mean, yeah, look, he's now controlling the bot side of the map. Larssen now has the freedom to move, and thank you, observers. If we can actually toggle the vision and see how much Rogue sees right now, they're the ones utilizing the pressure that they have on the bot side of the map, and you'll notice that Finn is just isolating the top lane. He's pinging, he's like, jungler could be here, there's the risk of a dive, and he's looking to try and play around that, and the fact that the Herald has just spawned, he's like, okay, we've now got information. What can we do with this? It looks like for now, Rogue is just going to use this as an opportunity to reset. Thank you very much, observers, for helping see what Rogue could see.
And if we can just reset expectations for that mid lane, there's a 20 CS advantage for Larsen's Azir. Obviously, Saken went for that engage. We'll get back to that in a moment. As the Ornn Horn has been summoned, here comes Larssen. Hunt Summer throws down the railgun. Cabochard will get taken out. It's Finn that secures the kill. The Herald will get taken out. And Summer with the assist from the bottom lane, and Rogue completely ready to counter-punch Vitality.
The running man is being outrun by a bird right now, Quickshot. It was Larssen who had the push in mid lane and then made the rotation up with his jungler. And again, we have to backtrack to what we were just talking about. What could Rogue see? They knew when the Rift Herald was dropped top. They knew that they had full vision control over the bot side, so expectations were that a play was coming top. Because Larssen had the push in mid, he knew that Saken was either base or already making his way there. Rogue had all the information to make that play, and they get a successful punish.
And that's exactly what's giving them this 1,500 gold lead. Vitality, they do want to make some plays back. You have mentioned that at one item, they are going to be the stronger team, and we're getting very close to that. So it's not Dunzos yet, but it is starting to feel a little nervous. There's the cleanse, the Emperor's Divide! So well timed. Larssen managing to get it just as Jactroll had flashed forwards.
And note that that is one flash for two, along with the cleanse used against the ignite from Jactroll, and just such quick reactions coming out from Larssen there. The immediate cleanse from the stun. He doesn't hesitate with the flash. Like, we both know that we would have been like, hey, once I've cleansed, I can get out of there. But no, he recognizes if he's flashing onto me, I'm not safe, so I've got to get out. Speaking of not getting out...
Oh, Saken's in trouble. Cataclysm's already gone down. Larssen is going to come in from behind, and the kill will be donated to those Sand Soldiers. Saken was following Skeanz to the top lane to try set up a play, and he just got caught out in Rogue's jungle. 3-0, and Rogue, their... what was the word you used? Disrespectful draft is paying off.
Yeah, it certainly is.
They dared Vitality to play the early game, and Vitality haven't been able to deliver.
No, they have not been able to. Now, of course, we're in a position where I did say that, yes, if the game was even coming into 15 minutes, then I would give Vitality's comp an edge, but it isn't even. Quickshot. You can see that with Finn completing his Sunfire Cape and having the Bramble Vest as well, he's incredibly strong. He's got a level advantage over Cabochard. Larsen's 12 to Saken's 10. Inspired's 9 to Skeanz' 8. The only person with a level advantage is Comp, and he is not online right now. He is building that mana, the Muramana, and it's going to take him a while before he gets relevant in this game.
A lot of members around the mid lane. Saken is going to stick around just a little moment too long. Jactroll and Skeanz coming forward. Cocoon goes down as well. The Glacial Fisher. Summer melts Saken where he stands, and now the Rift Herald is going to help push down this middle lane. Shot Barrage is flying. Is this going to snipe anyone? Are we being baited? Are we being trolled? No, not going to do a whole lot. Can we get a little bit meta for a second? Like, zoom out. Do you think Rogue are doing good things as a team, or just individually are outplaying what Vitality is doing to them?
They're individually outplaying them right now. Like, don't get me wrong, the steps that they're taking right now is good. This is a clean League of Legends, right? But their advantage has not come from smart macro play necessarily. It's come from their individual players showcasing a lot of respect and just straight up outplaying the Vitality members. So we're gonna have a look back at this play. They know that they have the Rift Herald. They know that Saken does not have enough wave clear to deny it, and they rotated their duo up towards the mid lane as well. They find a quick pick onto Saken, and then with the Rift Herald, they quickly convert this into 2 towers in the mid lane. Clean stuff overall. Rogue now sit with a 3k gold advantage, and the Drake is on the board for them to look to grab next.
I mean, it's such a fantastic advantage, and you think of all the tools they can use either around objectives or to start fights. The Jarvan, the Ornn, the ability to peel with the Azir and Braum. Like, it's such a well-rounded comp no matter where they go for the next 15 minutes. But I'm not doing hyperbolic statements, right? I'm really not doing it. I'm just trying to get a deeper understanding of how I feel about Rogue, because they're very hyped coming into the split, and Hansama uses the stopwatch to stay alive. Finn channels and completes the teleport. They're not done yet. Continuing to chase under Saken. He gets chunked. He gets locked down. The Bellows Breath not needed just yet. Hansama finds another. And Rogue, their coordination is on point.
Yeah, it certainly is. And the reality is, Quickshot, when you're in your solo queue games, wait.
Inspired manages to survive again. Man, time is in a favor of Rogue right now. Hansama, he channels the teleport, joins the middle lane. He's got that Duskblade completed. While that was going on, important to note that tower did die up in the top lane there. Cabo was shoving it in, but it's a gigantic advantage, and another one falls in favor of Rogue.
Yep, certainly does. And the point that I was trying to get at earlier is when you're playing that solo queue game and you press tab and you see that your Elise is 0-0-0 by 18 minutes, you're not feeling super confident. Their strategy, Vitality's game plan, was to have this strong 2v2 mid jungle that they would control the map with, and they have not been able to successfully find these plays. And this was Vitality's attempt at getting back into the map. Skeanz' cocoon goes wide. He doesn't even wait for Saken to land. The point and click stun, which would have made landing that easier, but of course, the stopwatch comes out from Hansama. He denies the stun, and then Rogue set up a very clean dive. VandeR, good use of the stopwatch to tank as many tower shots as possible. And then Rogue walk away with a kill and a tower.
I mean, it's really good play. We've had slower games today than yesterday, I feel, but definitely controlled ones.
I mean, to be fair, like 19 minutes in, Rogue are now up by 4 towers.
It's clear, it's controlled, is what I'm saying. And it's not chaotic. It's
I see.
Rogue have just got absolute control of this. There's no misunderstanding it.
It's not like last game.
No. I do have quick stats you're going to appreciate, Vedius.
Hit me.
So we were praising Larssen and saying he's smurfing on kids and he's playing exceptionally well. Do you know, yesterday he set the highest CSD of his career, plus 35. Today he set the second highest CSD of his career, plus 30.
Wow.
Both games 2 days in a row just having a fantastic performance. And just remember, he lost his cleanse at level 1, right? So remember that fact, and he still played accordingly and still had the advantage.
You've been around for what, like 700 years now?
Yeah, 725.
Right? So like you remember the days of Froggen, right? You cast that man.
I did indeed.
Are you getting Froggen vibes from this Larssen? Does that like does it like inspire you perhaps?
I need to hear how he pronounces LeBlanc.
Okay.
And that will be my final say. But yeah, I think maybe in terms of the laning phase, I don't know if I go as far as to say that maybe for the late game and the team fights.
That's fair.
I would like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see him tested in the team as well.
But like, it's just when I think about, like when I think of Froggen from the old days, you know, it's always someone who is so controlled in the laning phase, and he was also like that clutch player in the big team fights when it mattered, and that's largely what I think of when I think of Larssen. And when we think about his career, he's only been in the LEC for 2 splits now.
Yeah.
He's already showcasing some pretty impressive stuff for his second split.
I mean, this entire game from Rogue is basically a CLG EU game. Farm until you have an advantage, and then team fight and crush.
Yeah.
That was basically what it is. And we've hit this point in the game as well, where one of the trends that we've been talking and looking at is the fourth or the third or the fourth dragon, depending on what timing they come up, whether or not a team trades it for the Baron. And I don't even think Vitality will be able to do that. If you look at, they've lost 5 towers across the map. Rogue can easily turn and burn wherever they wanted to. Teleport's not available just yet, so maybe they'll play a little bit of time there. But Rogue can basically decide which objective they want to prioritize and just like dare Vitality to come at them.
So the funniest thing to me about this game is Comp gets engaged on.
Oh my word. So much damage, but he escapes with his life for now.
Yeah, so notice the build that we're seeing from Finn. He's built 0 magic resistance because he looks at Elise and says, you're irrelevant to me. He only cares about being able to hold Cabochard in a side lane, and even if Skeanz come, like, Jungle is season 10. He's level 10 to level 14. Like, just the base stats alone, he feels to be enough against a 1 item, well, 2 item with the boots, Elise, but like, he doesn't need to build magic resistance.
I laughed so much at Jactroll on the desk yesterday talking about junglers getting to level 18 in the practice tour. He's like, no, I'm never gonna do this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try a different level.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if Skeanz gets a pentakill, that's his way back into the game, right?
Let's talk a little bit about Vitality because, look, they did try, right? Like, Skeanz tried to make some ganks. We had the inspirational speech from Froskuren beforehand. Very likely going to be 0-4. But, you know, where do they go from here? I mean, in the game, obviously, you hope maybe Cabo can play a side lane at some point. And
there we go.
We're going to look at. All right, 2-on-1 here. Saken's going to come in. They're going to interrupt the Ornn Horn. Support coming down. A lot of damage on a Saken. Remember, all Finn has built is armor, and all Saken and Cabo can do is physical damage. The Rupture comes out. Saken not going to be able to find the Comet Spear. Finn continues to run for his life as he tags the Gromp. Now the Gromp is going to be helping onto Saken. The Gromp is enlisted. The hookshot comes out. Bellow's Breath not going to be enough. And finally, Finn goes down.
Wow. It cost Vitality 2 flashes and an ignite, but they did eventually kill Finn. Now, Rogue, their Baron was quite slow because of Senna, which means that they could not commit to it. So Vitality will have a numbers advantage for this Drake, which could be the Ocean Soul for Rogue. So they really want to contest it, but Rogue going to be dead. Oh, sorry, Finn going to be dead for another 20 seconds.
All right, Cabochard's TP'd in from behind. Hextech Ultimatum not available. Jactroll caught out and taken down. Numbers advantage evened out. Now Inspired is in trouble. He's forced to flash over the wall. Rogue have caught Vitality on the wrong side of the river, and they are not going to run away right now. Rogue are not willing to concede the pit, and instead stepping all the way forward. Cop has flash available, used the Arcane Shift, and escaped over. Very good Blast Cone. A little lucky timing on that one. And Finn, by the way, respawned, teleported in. Ocean Drake secured, as well as the Soul. And I mean, great start here, for great continuation for Rogue. A little bit of a speed bump when Finn goes down, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it was one of those situations where Rogue thought, oh, okay, well, if we create pressure on one side of the map, obviously we can trade it for something like a Baron or a successful team fight. And the idea is that while Senna is not the strongest at taking Baron, Azir is very good at taking it. Because once you get those 3 soldiers up, you get all this bonus attack speed, and you can just melt through that objective. But unfortunately, they couldn't quite commit to it because Skeanz is in the area, and you always have to respect that possibility of a steal.
2 items now for Larssen. He got the Luden's Echo to back up the Nash's Tooth. Mirror Mana completed for Hans Summer, who's quietly 2-0-3. Yes, he's down 30 CS, his opposite number, but the ultimate snipes across map and just the general kit of Senna. I mean, Hans Summer's looking revitalized this year.
I mean, for sure. He's stacked right now. You know, the Mirror Mana now being completed. He's working towards his second completed lethality item. You have 2.5 items on Larssen. He's probably not going to upgrade that Oblivion Orb because he doesn't really need the Morello this game. And it's 25 minutes. We talked about it. They have Ocean. Like, I hate to say it, Quickshot, but I think this game is done.
Yeah, well, let's see how Rogue finish it out.
I'm hoping that I cast the curse it so it gets a little bit more exciting.
Well, let's see. Skeanz, Flash and Smite available, a level down. True Shot Barrage is going to tag Inspired. That drops him real low. Real low. And Vitality, they've interrupted the Baron. Look at this. Vedius has cast a curse Rogue. Rogue Redikai. Go yell at him in all caps. The engage from Jactroll. The 3-man knockup. Where's the follow-up? There's nothing. Jactroll, that looked amazing.
But his only goal was to interrupt the bats.
There we go.
He wants to allow Cabochard time to be able to siege onto this tower. And because he's completed the Trinity Force and the Ravenous Hydra, he is a big threat in a side lane. You know, it's interesting because it's kind of at this point in the game where Rogue as a team start to make those small blips. Around the Baron is where their execution is not the cleanest. And Cabochard, using his experience, taking advantage of the champion that he has, where he's very strong, can take these towers very quickly. Yep. Is now posing a threat and an obnoxious obstacle that Rogue have to overcome.
It also reminds me a little bit of how Cabo and Jizuke used to play a lot of late games last year.
Yeah.
They did a lot of split push to, draw attention. And
do you remember the Rogue v Vitality game last year where Rogue was smashing and then Vitality won because of the TP backdoor into the base?
After the fight at the Dragon Pit, right? Yeah. Similarly, Jizuke playing the side lane against Fnatic as well. Just pushing and extending and just being a, like you said, a nuisance. I think it's a very good word. But how much of a nuisance can they be? 3,000 gold down? If Rogue can commit just to one of these like inhibitor towers and use the numbers advantage, it can go south real quick. Real quick. But this is where we want to see some progress here.
All right, so now Rogue is looking to try and take control of this top side of the jungle. You can see that all this vision is going to be cleared out, and they're going to try and set up as much as they can. And what they don't realize is that there is, of course, this vision sitting behind them that can be used as a TP flank from the side of Vitality. But of course, now the Baron is being started off. TP is available on Comp. Not available on Cabochard. It looks like Vitality's just going to commit to this split push.
All right, Jactroll's a few seconds away for the quickness. Skeanz getting tagged up by those Sand Soldiers. VandeR's got the ultimate and the wall available. Throws down the ulti. Call of the Forge God. They want to keep the spider outside of the pit. What goes up must come down. Skeanz goes to the Krug camp, and Rogue are able to pretty cleanly take Baron and defend any potential steal from Vitality. Good luck, Cabo, split pushing now into Baron-empowered minions. This is going to make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Clean play overall from Rogue. Of course, they didn't need to clear out that the vision behind them because the lack of teleport from Cabochard. So overall, good stuff from Rogue. Now they just begin the siege. Hansama, I gotta check how many stacks he has right now. He's at 57. Okay, so not the highest amount, but once he hits that 60 mark, he will be able to get a bunch of bonus stats. Currently, he has 50 bonus range, and once he gets up to 60, I believe he will get an increased further range, which just makes sieging so easy. Especially, you're basically like another cannon minion sitting at the back.
I'm just trying to figure out how anybody gets to him and sticks to him long enough to kill him. Like, with all of the tools in this composition, Hansama is just going to be able to shoot fish in a barrel.
His
for
range
the
is
rest
675 now.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Pretty crazy.
I mean, look, really, really good clean play, and unfortunate here for Vitality. I want to see whether or not some changes over the coming weeks will help Vitality out there. Pretty clearly falling down to the bottom of the table and not looking at like being a challenger right now. If anyone's looking at the screen, you can join Yankos on PGL tonight, where he's going to discuss Motivation Work Improvement Team. I wonder how many people still know that meme.
I don't know. It's old, man. It's old.
It is an old one, but I'm an old guy, so...
I mean, it's true.
Well, we'll see how it works out. That's G2 versus OG, match of the week a little later. Rogue uncontested. Look at the minimap. Saken and Cabo are trying to push. What? What are you guys trying to do? Your base is in shambles. Call of the Forge God is available. Rogue may just want to go for another push. Look at this. The turret is going to fall down on the Nexus. Now all 5 members of Vitality are around. But they can't do anything. They're so far behind. The Ornn has been summoned. And that's an easy double kill for Hansama. We'll follow up with another, as Larssen is now on a killing spree. 4 quick kills. As Cabo is now left standing. They're going to take down the Nexus.
Absolutely massacres Vitality. 10 kills to 1. They did not allow them to use their early game comp at all. They outscaled them, outdrafted them. Rogue smashed Vitality in week 2.
A little early on one mode, but I like it. It's one of those games where you want to see more happen, but you don't really want to if you're a Rogue fan, because they played their comp the way they wanted to. They were defensive, they were reactive, they didn't fall prey to any of the engages.
I mean, it's just... Yes, all props to Rogue. Good stuff. But like, I have to bring us back to Vitality, because how many times are we going to look at this team and like, why do you keep drafting comps that are really difficult to play? Why do you keep taking your comps in a direction that are like, you have to play this one condition, and if you fail to meet that condition, then your game then becomes impossibly hard. Like, it feels like that they're very driven towards playing towards Cabochard, and I think they need to change that mentality. Like, I think that there are so many things that we need to still see from Vitality that, like, Rogue could just draft scaling. Like, Rogue didn't have to show us anything. We just saw, like, good players beat players that weren't as good as them.
We've seen it pretty consistently that the scaling options have been fairly successful.
Yeah.
Guys at home, hold the thought really quick. Key player of the game on at LEC. Your options are Finn, Inspired, or Larssen. But yeah, back